obviously you've played since you played Stanford, but I wanted to kind of start there and find out what did you learn about yourselves after the Stanford game?
Well, I would just say that probably even starting at Eastern, all three of these games, I just feel like everybody wants to be on the highway going 70, and we're like in town going over speed bumps, right? and feel like we have potential to become a really great team. We're just a little spotty in our execution, make some, you know, glaring mistakes on defense. I think, speaking of Stanford, they just made us pay for every mistake we made, and we had some a game plan going in, and it was absolutely not give threes to certain kids. And one of the first two plays, we gave up a three to the kid we weren't, and then sub comes in and gives up a three to the kid that we weren't, and just individual mistakes of not knowing how to guard their personnel, and clearly our mistake by not having that ironed out. But Stanford's kind of maybe a beast of its own. I mean, I think clearly they may be better than advertised, and I don't
Yeah.
want to I don't want to take that, and we did all we needed to do to dissect that game and try to fix us. Um,
Sure.
but we're a long way from being able to execute the way we need to. And again, not anything drastic, not anything that can't be fixed. It's just, we have a lot of new players that don't quite know when to attack and when to move the ball on. And we have some older players trying to maybe do too much. I think that would probably be the message I would say, is we got these real passionate, competitive players that are trying to do too much with the ball on any given possession every time the ball hits their hands. And we just gotta calm down and understand that we're going to create really good looks for somebody on the court. It just doesn't have to be you doing it all the time.
Now you're going to get a test in another way. I think starting Saturday, you're on the road for 6 games before you come back home in December 13th or whatever against BYU. So now what's the game plan?
I just feel like we had one of our best practices of the year yesterday. They watched the film, a little bit of Tech and a little bit of us, and just great responses. I think the one thing that we've got to find a way is we've got to find some bodies and players that can score in the post. We're trying to play inside out, and we're getting real inconsistent play maybe from, Alex, I think, had a decent night the other night offensively and defensively. Got to get more out of Candace. Having D back in the lineup a little bit, I think we can score from the low block a little bit better than we have. But we got to produce when we throw the ball in there and we're one-on-one in the post. So that's number one. I think if we can iron that out and get better points in the paint from that position, I think that really helps us. And then I think just we got to understand it's mile one of the marathon, right? We've just barely started this process, and everybody's wishing they were better at this, and that, and we're that same way now. Can we go into hostile environments and really high level athletic, play against high level athletic teams like Texas Tech, clearly Iowa, and the styles, that very different styles those two teams play? How will we compete in those situations? That's what we signed up for. That's what we want our players to have to experience. And I honestly do believe that every single day we're in the gym, this team's getting better. I think we're understanding what we need to do to succeed. I really liked our defensive effort against Idaho. I just thought we kind of have too many empty possessions on the offensive end, and we've just got to clean up and clear up some things that we're doing offensively.
Okay.
Anything else, Greg?
That's good for me.
All right, I've got a couple questions here from Janie Vinnick of Kook Fan. First, he wants to know what you think of Dayona's debut on Sunday.
I think I'm really glad she got a chance to play in that game before we went to Tech. I mean, very excited to play. I think very nervous to play, just like all of our players were when they first put on the jersey and went out under the lights. A little overwhelmed by it. We've passed her by on what she's retained and as far as the stuff that we've put in. So just she needs days of practice of just making sure where to be, what to do on the offensive end. And then clearly, I think you saw glimpses of what she can bring to the floor. She's a dynamic player that we've got to get the ball in her hands in good positions on the floor. And I think she's going to be really effective for us. Loved her defense, activity level there. Just again, just needed her to get some minutes, a little bit under her belt. And now I think you'll see us try to grow those minutes. And I think you'll see a more calm presence when we play from here on out. I think she'll get calmer and understand of what's going to help her succeed.
Has the transition from a veteran squad in the past to a younger team been harder than anticipated?
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, again, I think the best thing I would say is, if we have a chance to be a 10, potential wise, I feel like we're at about a 2 right now. So for us, because we're so young, I mean, it's nice to know that we can get to a 10 and we're that far away from our potential. So I think this group is hungry. They watch film. They want to be better. We need to clean up some things on both sides of the ball, but they want to do that. So I'm excited about this group. I think we'll get better every night out offensively. And I think we want to continue to be solid defensively. We still got to do a lot of different things on the defensive end, but I'm really excited about this team still. I don't want anyone to feel like we've done anything wrong. We've put ourselves in tough situations, and now going forward, really hard schedule, but this team is up for it. And again, we want to be the best team we can be in March, and we'll live through some of these experiences right now.
Certainly, talking about a young team, how much is some of the early season shooting a product of just the freshmen getting comfortable with the college game?
Well, so much of it, I think, still is like what I said before is kind of, I remember watching, I think it was the Olympics, and it panned over. Anthony Edwards came in and he had like 3 possessions where he basically turned it over, took a wild shot, did something else, and it panned over to Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr had like a little baseball bat, and he said, hit singles, just hit singles to him. And I feel like that's our team, is we're like Anthony Edwards trying to hit a home run every single time we touch the ball. And maybe that's trying to get to the rim every single time. So we've picked up charges there, and we don't read the floor right. And we have, lapses in a lot of different things on the offensive end. We have the right execution, and then we take a bad shot. We don't trust offense, and so we do this. There's just all these little things. And just, I think we need a calmness about us and stay with it. And again, light bulbs are going to come on for this team, and understanding how to move the ball, when to attack it, and when to pass it. And that's not an easy thing to teach young players, but they're willing and they want to be good, and they can watch film and they can see what they missed, and they just sit there and they get mad at themselves for missing it. So I think our shooting will get better as we start getting, as we start passing the ball a little bit better and reading the floor right and making better decisions.